feel like I have to start this video sort of like how every influencer started their review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Whew! Oh my god. I just got back from watching Spider-Man Brand New Day. Man, I didn't even have time to get my clothes off. I'm still in the same clothes. I got the shirt. I got my Punisher necklace. Man, this movie is out of this world. Okay, that's fine. I honestly, I can't go further than that because it just wouldn't feel genuine to how I feel about this movie. Because after having seen Brand New Day, I'd like to officially welcome Spider-Man. Not Tom Holland. Tom Holland has been in the MCU now since Civil War. Since Captain America Civil War, he's been in the MCU. I'm not welcoming Tom Holland. I'm officially welcoming Spider-Man into the MCU. Now, straight off the bat, I need to advise everyone who is watching this video, before you continue watching this video, please know that I will be covering spoilers. There will be spoilers in this video. Please avoid this video at all costs. By the time that you see this video, it's gonna be Friday, and I have seen this movie on a Saturday. It is Saturday. Yes, I did come home late, but I am telling you right now, please avoid this video because it will be covering spoilers. Go watch this movie. Please go watch this movie. Watch it once, watch it twice, watch it 3 times, watch it as many times as you need to watch it. Go watch this movie because it's really worth watching, and I'll tell you a little bit more in detail why. But if you don't care about spoilers, if you don't care about anything spoiler related, feel free to stay because I have a lot to say about this movie. After having seen Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters and having seen it, opening night with a bunch of people and having seen their reactions that night, honestly, it was an absolute blast for me. But what I took away from that movie was that movie was sort of a passing of the torch. It was sort of like, here is, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and obviously he's on this new adventure now with, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, who are the other 2 Spider-Man, and this was kind of like the 2 of those Spider-Man kind of passing the torch onto Tom. And in my mind, I was like, okay, now we're gonna get a version of Spider-Man that I wanted to see. That was like the idea, and that was the approach. And I was like, okay, I'm interested in seeing it, but they have to do it right. That was always in my brain. Yes, I started to accept Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but I honestly, before that, I didn't even accept him as that character. For me, Homecoming and Far From Home did not land as hard with me as, say, No Way Home in that case. Far From Home was a little bit better than Homecoming. Homecoming just felt, I don't know, it just felt flat for me. I enjoyed kind of seeing the little the action sequences at least that they showed, but it never really strung with me. It never strung my chords per se. And I was honestly, I felt deprived. Sure, there are moments where you see Spider-Man, in, whether it's Avengers Infinity War or seeing him in Endgame. I mean, those moments are really cool. I think, honestly, I liked him more in Civil War than I could even care to talk about. But what I really enjoyed, going into No Way Home was the fact that we were turning the page on, little Peter Parker, and we were finally starting to get into Spider-Man. The Spider-Man that I wanted to see from the beginning. And after having watched Brand New Day, I can officially say that now we finally have the version of Spider-Man that I have been wanting since Homecoming. For me, honestly, in my mind, I think of the 4 Spider-Man movies that were released for the MCU not as one trilogy and a new movie. I like to think of them as almost like duologies. You have, Homecoming and Far From Home as one duology, and this is the second duology. No Way Home and then Brand New Day. That's like the second duology of this thing, because thematically speaking, Far From Home does not feel like a sequel to like No Way Home does not feel like a sequel to Far From Home, even though they are direct sequels. Like literally, like you have to watch Far From Home in order to understand where we're going in No Way Home. So that's the thing. Even though I don't feel that transition as much, but I honestly like I feel so much better about where we are right now with Spider-Man in the MCU, and honestly, there's so many things that I have to say. Now, normally I don't talk about the director of a movie, but I have to give it up for Destin Daniel Cretton. Holy cow, my dude, you freaking nailed it. Like, I am telling you, you nailed it to the T. Like, it's perfect. Perfect. Like even the small things that I would possibly try to find to create a problem with, I can't even find those problems, because this guy actually did it. He actually was able to bring the version of Spider-Man that I've wanted to see on screen for such a long time. I mean, the last time I felt this was probably with Tobey Maguire. Like, that's how crazy it is. I mean, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was kind of like on its own sort of like bubble in a way, but the last time I felt this level of heart in a film that was Spider-Man related was with Tobey Maguire. So, man, and there's so many things that he includes in this movie that are little homages to not only the comic books, because I mean, you've probably seen the little comic book cover moments that they put in the trailer. Those are in the movie. And there's other ones as well that are also covers of movies, of comic books at least, in that movie. But like, dude, even little homages to like, obviously Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, even scenes that are shot similarly to those movies. There are moments where I'm like, dude, I could literally do a side shot of, you know, what's going on here versus, you know, stuff that we've seen before in, you know, a Tobey Maguire movie or the Andrew Garfield movies. Oh my god. I was in the middle of editing this and I completely forgot to talk about how there are moments in this movie that are literally ripped out from the games. I mean, honestly, there are several. There's like literally a dodge maneuver that he does that is like literally straight from the game. I mean, there are moments where he's swinging around and doing tricks that you would see be done in the game. You know, little sound bites or moments that actually remember the two Sony games that we have, which are absolutely amazing. So honestly, that's something that I wanted to add in there because I completely forgot that there was also that factor as well. I just am absolutely blown away with the direction of this film. Cinematography-wise, it's absolutely amazing. This is probably the best looking MCU movie that I've seen. Probably, I'm gonna go as far as to say, sure, Fantastic Four is absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that movie looks and breathes cinematography as well. And I would possibly go as far back as Thunderbolts, which was last year, and say that, yeah, last year, that movie was cinematically speaking amazing. And I would probably compare the cinematography to, you know, that movie. Probably closer to Thunderbolts than I would say maybe Fantastic Four. But oh my god, this fucking movie is amazing. Oh my goodness, I just swore. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible what Destin Daniel Cretton was able to do. So let's talk about the casting of this movie. Now, before I get into like the deeper characters, let's talk about like the characters that are kind of like the obvious ones that we can cover right now. First off, Zendaya and Jacob Batalon. these are the two main kind of heart characters to Peter. And I cannot tell you, like, I could probably count on my hand, like, maybe 4 times throughout this entire movie that I teared up. And truly, I was, like, weeping as I was watching this movie, because there's truly a level of understanding for what is going on with, you know, Peter Parker and Spider-Man as a whole. And you know, these two are the two, like, weights that kind of, like, keep him real and keep him, you know, alive in a way. And to see sort of, like, him trying to, like, reach out and connect and sort of, like, bridge the emotional gap that he is feeling to his friends, it was just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, there's a scene in the movie where, and this is for the people who didn't watch it, obviously, but there's a scene in the movie where, you know, the 3 of them are just hanging out, and obviously Peter can't show his identity, so he's just fully dressed as Spider-Man. And my God, I'm telling you, like, that scene where the 3 of them are there together, I was already crying, like, literally into it. I was already crying, like, them building the X-Wing. Oh my God. I was like, my goodness. The emotional aspect of this movie is just through the roof. And I mean, Zendaya and Jacob do an absolutely amazing job in this movie. Absolutely amazing job. And I cannot wait for them to announce that they're going to do another one, because for the first time ever, I'm super excited to see where this goes. And then obviously with Zendaya and Jacob there, it's going to be amazing. Now, obviously, you've already seen it in the trailer, so there is no spoiler here, but obviously, Jon Bernthal as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, is in this movie. And obviously, like I showed you before, I did wear my my little Punisher necklace to the movie theater, along with my Spider-Man t-shirt. And even, you know, I went with my parents, and my mom was like, hey, like, why are you wearing a necklace with this? This has nothing to do with Spider-Man. I was like, don't worry, he's in the movie. So I had to, like, clarify. But Frank plays a really good... Frank is a really interesting character to be in this movie. And I love their interactions. I love the interactions between Peter and Frank. I mean, those are probably one of those, like, almost like 2 friends who disagree on everything, but kind of have mutual respect for each other, because ultimately they're kind of like after this same goal, except one wants to kill everybody and the other one wants to protect the city. So it's kind of like on the fence. But I mean, it's so much fun seeing, you know, Frank and Peter interacting, and them sort of like have disagreements, but ultimately there are moments of heart. And to me, like, when Frank is talking to him and saying, like, hey, like, who is this girl? Because obviously he's trying to protect MJ, and he's like, who is this girl? Like, she's got to be something. And you know, he's trying to deny everything, but ultimately seeing him, you know, talk to Frank and be like, hey, like, you know, just trust me on this. It's so good. It's so good. Their interactions are absolutely amazing, and the chemistry between Tom Holland and Jon Bernthal is clearly amazing. So I have nothing else to say other than it's amazing to see Jon Bernthal in this movie. And I think it's the first time we see Punisher on screen, probably since the old one, the one where even John Travolta was in that movie. So really cool to see Punisher on screen, and I don't know, maybe at some point we get a Punisher movie, a full movie of Punisher. So who knows? But I had a lot of fun seeing him on screen. And also, not a spoiler as well, because everybody saw it on the trailer, and it's true. Mark Ruffalo is in this movie. And even though he does play a very small role in this movie, we get to see him as the Hulk. But not just the Hulk. We get 2 versions of the Hulk within minutes of each other. Like, we go from, Professor Hulk being controlled. We'll get to that later. We have Professor Hulk, who starts to have like a fight with Peter and with Spider-Man, and ultimately there's a scene there where the Hulk literally tries to do the whole Loki thing to Spider-Man, and that didn't work. And I mean, from then on, then he goes back to being Bruce Banner, and then Bruce Banner transforms into full-on Hulk. Like, not Professor Hulk, where he's just a normal Hulk that speaks like normally, but he goes full Hulk. And that is insane. Like, I did not expect them to go full Hulk in this movie, even though the trailers kind of showed that. Did not expect that would be the case. So, that was amazing. That was amazing. The Hulk sequence in this movie is absolutely amazing. I honestly am dumbfounded that they would do this in a Spider-Man movie, and they pulled it off brilliantly. And see Mark Ruffalo be a professor in this movie, and sort of like him, like Peter trying to talk to to Bruce Banner and trying to actually have some sort of dialogue with him to sort of see like how he can fix this whole change that he's experiencing. Absolutely amazing. Love that. Give me more. Give me more. That's all I have to say. But Mark Ruffalo is amazing. Now, obviously, we get classic villains of Spider-Man in this movie. Obviously, the one that you've seen in the trailer, played by Michael Mando, which is the Scorpion, absolutely amazing. The two major scenes that he actually has in the movie are absolutely great. There's nothing that I have to say bad about his performance, other than he was absolutely awesome. We also get another classic villain. This is also a spoiler because you guys haven't seen the movie, or maybe you have seen the movie, so you already know who I'm talking about. We have Tombstone, which shows up for like a split second, but they got the right guy to play Tombstone. Crondon, I think that's his name. Great guy. He is literally the right guy to play Tombstone. And honestly, if they wanted to put more of Tombstone in there, I would not be surprised, because that would be very cool to experience on screen. So, absolutely great seeing him there. Another villain, big villain as well that we get to see is played by Imanis Isfandi. He plays MJ's boyfriend. I'm kidding. He doesn't play the enemy. He's just playing MJ's boyfriend. In this case, really nice. Honestly, like he's there for like literally that much time in the movie, and he plays it really well. I mean, come on. Like you're gonna get Ezra Bridger, the guy who plays Ezra Bridger, to show up for like literally like, and he does a great job. So I have no qualms, if ands or buts. He did great. Now here's a surprise addition to this movie that I had no idea that they were actually going to follow through with this. There was chatter on the internet about this, and they said that it was going to be, an intimate scene where the two of them were kind of like getting intimate, and it was almost like a scene where they were in an apartment and things were going to get hot and heavy. That's what they were saying online. Goes to show that the internet knows absolutely nothing. So luckily, we do get a scene where we have, obviously, Florence Pugh. Yes, we get Yelena in this movie. She has like 2 scenes in the movie, but they're great. They're absolutely great. And seeing, her in sort of like a bathhouse, and that's her office, I love that. Absolutely love that. I honestly, I love that scene, because it like almost shows that they kind of almost have a relationship. Or they could possibly have a relationship with each other. Who knows? But I would be very excited to see where they would, grow this sort of relationship with him. But having Yelena there was an interesting idea, and I cannot get out of my brain the fact that she starts to talk to him and trying to find out information. The only thing that I like about that interaction was her saying that what Spider-Man does is more like little potato stuff, while what she's dealing with is big potato, stuff. So it's like, honestly, like that was a hilarious scene. Seeing Spider-Man with just the mask and just stripped down and just being inside a bathhouse was not something that was on my bingo card. And I absolutely have to thank Destin Daniel Cretton for making the scene possible, because that was hilarious. All right, time to cover the big two, okay? Before I talk about the big mysterious character, even though if you've already watched the movie, you know the big mysterious character I'm talking about. But before we talk about the big mysterious character, I'm gonna go and talk about, obviously, Spider-Man himself, Tom Holland. Like I said before, Tom Holland as Spider-Man impressed me once, which was in Civil War, and then in No Way Home was the next part where he actually impressed me. Because obviously, even though after all the events of, everything that we went through with, Avengers and all that, like, sure, those moments were powerful. I mean, like, seeing him die in the arms of Tony Stark in Infinity War was kind of heavy. So I get that. Those are moments that were important, but he never really struck me as Spider-Man. Like, it never landed for me. Like, Tom Holland was not, like, officially my Spider-Man until, like, toward the very end of No Way Home. And obviously, throughout No Way Home, I actually really liked him, but those were the moments that felt... There were moments, but they just felt a little too kiddie for me. And I love that No Way Home essentially rebooted Spider-Man. No Way Home was the reboot that Spider-Man needed in order to become the version that I wanted to see. And in this movie, I can officially say that now Tom Holland is Spider-Man. For me personally, Tom Holland now is Spider-Man. He is that version of Spider-Man that I wanted to see for a really long time. And his performance in it is powerful, absolutely powerful. Like I said before, along with Zendaya, who actually does an amazing job in this movie. Having to switch in between, different emotions, sort of like to be manipulative at parts because it's not her, but you'll understand what I mean. If you didn't watch the movie, then you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, honestly, like, I'm just flabbergasted at how well he does in this movie. Tom Holland finally reaches the level of emotional maturity that I expected Spider-Man to have 3 movies ago. So I am like, finally, we get Spider-Man. This is Spider-Man. Whenever someone tells me, like, what is Spider-Man to you? This is it. This version of Spider-Man is what I'm talking about. Everything down to the suit. The suit feels tactile. It feels handmade, handcrafted. It doesn't feel like it's a CG representation of what a suit is supposed to look like. It doesn't feel overly technologically advanced. It feels handmade, handcrafted. It feels practical. I mean, honestly, like, to me, those are elements that make Spider-Man Spider-Man. And I feel like Tom Holland injecting this role with a little bit more of sympathy and love and, like, heartbreak and all the aspects that make Spider-Man Spider-Man makes this literally the first time that I look at Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and he does it amazing. An amazing job. Absolutely an amazing job. I have no critiques whatsoever to say about his character. I mean, Peter Parker or Spider-Man, in this case, because it's just absolutely breathtaking what he's able to accomplish in this movie. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the big mysterious character. And before I even get to her, I have to take you back a year and a couple months ago. We're talking about February of 2025. I'm at MegaCon. It is the last panel of the event. I'm talking about, like, after 4 days of going to MegaCon, last panel of the day was Joseph Quinn. And Joseph Quinn comes out, he talks about his experience on Stranger Things, he talks about his experience on, Fantastic Four, and how incredible that was, and all those little details and amazing moments, and man, great. Then the interviewer turns to him and says, hey, we have rumors that maybe they could be getting Sadie Sink to be Jean Grey. That was like February of 2025. Like, mind you, Spider-Man didn't start shooting until like maybe a couple months later. So you have to think of it like this. It's been already over a year since everything went down, and they were already discussing about Sadie Sink possibly playing Jean Grey in February of 2025. So, cut to now, and everybody was like, hey, are you playing this character? Are you playing Jean Grey? Are you doing this? Everybody trying to squeeze out the fact that she could possibly be playing Jean Grey. And lo and behold, it is officially true. She has been playing Jean Grey all this time in the trailer and teasing and putting all these things out there. I mean, heck, I even went and I created an AI representation, sort of like inspired by Jean Grey, even though it's not Jean Grey and it feels more like Rogue. But honestly, like, I honestly absolutely love seeing her in this movie as Jean Grey, sort of like an Elseworlds version of Jean Grey, because it's not like an official version that I would say is the version of Jean Grey that I'm like familiarized with when it comes to the X-Men, but it's a really interesting version of Jean Grey that I genuinely liked. I want to see more of her as Jean Grey. I mean, there's definitely precedent here to see more of her, especially now with the X-Men coming into the MCU. I mean, who knows? This could be a big thing. Maybe she shows up in Doomsday. I don't know. I have no idea. But it would be an interesting time for her to pop up, because we're already seeing the X-Men. So seeing a version of Jean Grey pop up there, and maybe if in Doomsday we get, Wolverine, I don't know. But all I have to say is that her performance as Jean Grey in this movie is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The emotional stakes, the moments where we have to understand why she's doing what she's doing, and how she's trying to navigate this emotional distress after having lost her sister. It's really difficult sometimes to put a character together sort of like last minute, because I feel like that's what happened with, Sadie Sink. Like, she got a last minute call and they said, hey, would you like to come in to actually play Jean Grey? I mean, I feel like everything fell into place and it just played out beautifully. So honestly, kudos to Sadie Sink, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get more of her in the future. Now, I have mentioned already how beautifully shot this movie was, but I also have to talk about the score. Michael Giacchino, once again, killing it with the musical score. I absolutely love what he did there. I mean, he actually sat down and did an interview recently that he talked about how he wanted to take some notes out of the song to kind of like tell a story with Spider-Man's theme, and sort of like see that he doesn't have those pieces of himself, and it sort of like indicates that he's a bit lonely, and because it's not the full theme, like, I honestly, like, his explanation about how he approached the score and everything that actually went into, scoring this film, still puts him at the top of the list as amongst one of the greatest composers of our time. So kudos to him for putting together incredible music for this movie and just making it just cohesively beautiful. Now, something that most people would say is probably like, what do you think about the pacing? Is the pacing good? Is it not good? I mean, it's something that most people would complain about because it's a long movie. But honestly, I did not feel a second of drag or weight or like exposition or the fact that it felt like it needed to be more than what it already was. Nothing. It felt perfectly paced, and honestly, it just makes me so happy that everything that was put into this story fits for this story. It just fits for the story. The emotional beats fit for the story. The action sequences fit for this story. There's nothing that feels like out of place. And that's something that I've always felt with Homecoming and Far From Home. It just felt like there's this really big story happening right here, and Spider-Man is just like playing a secondary role in the story. Spider-Man in this movie is front and center, and then you have little story pockets around him that he is like sort of trying to fix. And I love that. And I feel like that helps out the pacing so much. And it doesn't feel like a drag. And I love that everything just falls into place where it needs to. So honestly, pacing is nothing but amazing. Now, if I had to like complain about something, which is not even a complaint, but just like why is sort of the after credit sequence, which I feel like that after credit sequence did not have to be an after credit sequence. It should have just been a mid credit sequence. You know, after the initial credits roll, you could have just put that there, like in between the credits and the rolling credits that you see in before the rolling credits and after the credits with the images of New York. Which, by the way, off topic, but still, those B-roll shots of New York, absolutely awesome, absolutely brilliant. That idea of actually capturing moments of New York, absolutely great. I never thought that like just simple shots of New York would make for a great credit sequence, and it did. Absolutely beautiful. But again, after credit sequence should not have been an after credit sequence. Should have been a mid credit sequence, and then an after credit sequence, mind you, would have been a very interesting idea. Here's an interesting idea, okay? Mid credit sequence is what we got, which is the little, digital thing that they show where Spider-Man is. And Spider-Man is not in New York City anymore, and now he's in outer space, which goes to possibly indicate that we will get him in Doomsday. That's fine. Even in the very end of this movie, they're like, Spider-Man will return. We know Spider-Man will return. That's obvious. But is he going to return in Doomsday? Fingers crossed. Hopefully he does. Now, what do I think a good after credit sequence would be? Something leading into Doomsday. So what do I think? Put the little phone thing as a mid-credit sequence, and the after credit sequence, do something really cool. Like, get a scene of Spider-Man in Doomsday and play that as the after credit sequence of this movie. Because, dude, I would be mind blown if they did that. Because then we could get a sneak peek into Doomsday from this movie. That would have been a great idea. A secondary option would have been to probably put him and Yelena kind of like in an intimate scene, like we talked about before. An intimate scene where they're like, getting to know each other and almost dating and kissing. And then suddenly they get like a phone call or something saying like, hey, we need to go. Like, that would be an interesting after credit sequence. But for this little phone thing, the after credit sequence was kind of like meh. Like everybody in the theater, like everybody that was in the theater with me felt the same thing. Like as soon as that after credit sequence played through, everybody in the theater, I could hear everybody in the theater go like, oh, like everybody was groaning. Cause like, that's not what we want in an after credit sequence. And I would go as crazy as to say that an after credit sequence is possibly the most important moment of the movie after the climax, because that after credit sequence is what is gonna thread the needle for the next movie. And sure, a little phone thing could possibly tease that he's gonna be in Doomsday, that's fine, but I wanted something a little bit more of substance. But then again, that does not affect the movie as a whole. That's just a nuisance that was added to the movie at the very end that could have been something a little bit more. But that does not affect what I think about the movie and how absolutely spectacular it is. And all in all, I have to say this movie is absolutely amazing. I mean, I felt like now we're finally at the version of Spider-Man that, like, I waited so long for. Like, 3 movies it took to actually get to this point, where we're finally getting the version of Spider-Man that I wanted, that was emotionally mature, was trying to understand himself more, that was kind of like in a broken place, but they're piecing together moments of his life. I honestly, like, this is the core element of what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. So, like, everything was nailed perfectly well to make this a reality. All the character choices were great. You know, adding Jean Grey to the story was a really interesting idea. You know, sort of like the same way that the Spider-Man had to be there for Peter in his most desperate hour, in his most broken state. Now Peter has to be that for Jean Grey. And that is an interesting concept, a really interesting concept that this movie plays with, which is absolutely amazing to play with. I honestly like everything from the score to the cinematography, which is absolutely amazing, crispy and beautiful. Man, I just absolutely love this movie, and I just can't wait to see it again, because this is the type of movie that I would love to just pop right on and watch it again. Like, if I had it on streaming, like if it was available to stream like right now, I would have gone and just paid to get the movie on streaming just so that I can rewatch it again, because it's just that good of a movie. And I just cannot wait to see more now of Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Man, I am so glad. I am so happy to be, like, present in this moment and experience such a great movie. And yeah, I had a couple firsts. It's incredible. A couple of firsts in this movie. I mean, it was the first time I went to the movies on a weekend, specifically for an opening weekend. I've never been on an opening weekend of a movie. It's usually like opening night or opening day. Usually it's one of the two. That's a first for me. You know, opening weekend of a movie. Also, a first, I have never seen a movie at 11:15 at night that wasn't inside my own home. That's a first as well for me, because at 11:15, like, we walk in and it's like a bustling thing and everybody's going to watch their movies, and as we walk out, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and everybody is gone. It's an empty everything is empty, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I've never seen a movie at 11:15 on an opening weekend. So yeah, a couple of firsts. And it's also the first time that I'm officially accepting Tom Holland as Spider-Man. But then again, those are my thoughts, my opinions, my views, how I think of movies like this that are absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see it again because it's just absolutely amazing. Please go down below and tell me what you love about Spider-Man. If you saw this movie, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Is Spider-Man as a whole a character that you resonate with the same as I do? I come from the, Tobey Maguire era. My first movie that I ever watched in theaters was Spider-Man. That was the first ever experience I had inside a theater, was Spider-Man. That very first Tobey Maguire movie. So for me, everything about this movie fits and clicks really well with that era. And that's me. I mean, maybe you think differently than I do. And if you do, put that down below. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.
Scrolling through YouTube, same old routine, then bam, movie savant, what a scene. Trivia bombshells dropping knowledge like rain. Forget the dishes, gotta watch it again. Movie buffs unite, savants to place. Subscribe and hit the bell, don't leave a trace. Next level knowledge keeps you in the loop. Savants got the scoop, ain't nothing to recoup.